Hello, this is Mr. McMurray, and I would like to welcome you to Physics 1417. This is the hybrid course. We meet in person on Tuesday night at Weatherford College, Wise County, and we will be hybrid, so a lot of the quizzes and a lot of the worksheets and so forth will be turned in online. So it has a little bit of both, and so I'd like to welcome you to the class. Here's the information on my homepage. I assume if you're watching this video, you found your way here. And there's my email, which is important in case you need to get a hold of me. Since I do not have an office, therefore I don't have office hours, so anytime you need to get a hold of me, you may send me an email. I don't check my email constantly, but I will check it several times a day, and I will get back to you. If something is time related, like a quiz that has to be finished, and you can't finish it because I haven't got back to you, we will try to work that out and reschedule things and so forth. Okay. All right. Real quickly, let me go through some things on the homepage, just how to use it and so forth. A lot of this information on the first three buttons is here on the first page. Okay. There's a course welcome, course syllabus and policies, and they are pretty much down here below. All right. Let's look at the other three real quickly, and then we'll go look at the other stuff. Textbook information. There is a textbook that is included with this. It's called The Physical Universe, and there's a button over here to the side called McGraw-Hill Connect. If you click on that, it will give you access to that. However, this is not the book that we originally designed the course around, and it has a lot of math and so forth, which is not really the focus of this course. So we will not be using that directly a lot. If you want to use it, that's fine, but I really most people have not found it very helpful. If you had an opt-out option, I would say opt out of it, but I'm not sure you have that option. Okay, I do recommend, if you would like to have a textbook, the course is set up so that you can get the information from the videos and stuff that's on the online course. It's designed to be a standalone course. We don't have to have a book, but if you would like to have a book and have found that helpful and would like to have something you can go look up things that you have questions about, the original course that I used was Conceptual Physical Science Exploration, second edition, and it's out of print, but you can find it if you go just do a Google search for the title. You can usually find an old version of it that's available for usually fairly cheap, $10 to $20, maybe a little more than that, but fairly reasonable. So if you think you would benefit from having a textbook, or say partway through the course, you say, oh, I'm not getting this, I need something to look at, I would recommend that you get this textbook and just find it used on the internet. This one is not real effective for what we're doing with it. Okay, um, so um, that would be the textbook information. There are also some other links, Roots, which has a lot of student resources, has a admission, financial aid, blah, 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 all that kind of information, and so forth like that. So that's also useful for you. And Tech Help. Tech Help is important. If you have a problem with your computer, you can certainly let me know. Sometimes the problem is on my end, especially if you're doing an assignment early and you may be one of the first people doing it. I can check on my end. But a lot of times it's like, well, I'm sorry, mine works fine. It must be something else. So then if you go to the student tech support page, there's a bunch of different things. Probably the most important one is the tech help desk. If you click down here, you can send in a ticket, describe your problem, and they are usually pretty good about getting back to you and letting you, trying to help you with your problems. Okay. If that is getting in the way of you finishing a quiz in time or something, let me know, and we will try to work around that and extend it so that you can get it finished. I don't want anyone to fail the class because of technical difficulties. All right, but you do need to get on those quickly and get something submitted so they can help you out in time to get it done. All right, so those are just some resources that the college offers. All right, now these other two buttons, Course Welcome and Course Syllabus, you can click on those buttons, but basically it's going to have the same information that's right here on the front page, which to me it's a lot handier just to have it on the front page. All right, so it says here's a video. It demonstrates how to use it. You just click right there and it would take you to this video. Obviously, if you click right there, it will not take you to this video because I'm making it right now, but it will eventually be there. All right, here you click to see the syllabus. It's online. You can also get physical copies here, a Word document here, or a PDF here, whichever you prefer if you want to print one off. All right, it should be the same as what's online, but that kind of gives you an idea how that works. Okay, click here to the online syllabus just to see. We will be meeting in room 206 upstairs at Wise County, Weatherford College, Wise County, WCWC. And there's my email once again. Obviously, when you get in contact with me, I'm usually up there a couple hours before class in the classroom. So if you happen to be up there and can drop in and I can help you with things, that's fine. But generally, uh, most times people need to get a hold of me is during the weeks, and by all means, just send me an email. All right. It will cover mostly chemistry and then geology and then meteorology and astronomy. And we will probably cover bigger chunks in that order too. Chemistry is the biggest part, then geology, then meteorology and astronomy are kind of at the end. Okay, and will be smaller amounts of time on them. Um, we will meet from 6:30 to 7:45. Our time will be mostly with me. It's kind of a combination of a lecture with demonstrations to illustrate it, and some days we'll actually do labs while we're in there. Okay, but I found it's helpful that we also cover the lecture material, so it's not just a lab, not just a lecture. It's kind of a combination, and like I said, with a lot of demonstrations to kind of illustrate what we're studying. Okay, we'll talk more about quizzes and exams later, but we will have those, of course. Talked about textbook already, so you can just ignore that. Attendance is obviously very important. You get 5 points for being there every time, and if you do that by 14 times, that adds pretty good points to your average. But the main thing that's most useful is that if you're there, I think you will learn the material and understand it a lot better. Okay, if you can't, then that's okay. It's not a massive amount of your grade, so it will not flunk you just for not being there. I know things happen sometimes, but I'd highly encourage you to be there because I think you'll do much better overall. There will be 4 different exams, and there will be a final exam. You must take all 4 exams, and you must take the final exam. Okay, the 4 exams will just be over different content. There'll be either 3 or 4 chapters put together in each of those exams. And then the 5th exam, the final exam, will be over all the material. But the advantage is if you work hard and do good on the final exam, if it's higher than one of your first 4 exam grades, you can use it to replace that grade. It'll still count as your final exam, but it can also replace and count as one of your earlier exams. Okay? And all the exams together, final and the 4 other exams, will make up 65% of your grade. So obviously that's where the bulk of your time needs to be. Now we will have weekly quizzes and labs, and those will count as a lab grade, and that will be 25% of your grade. And then the last 10% will come from the review questions that we do every week. All right. So obviously the biggest chunk is the exams, and then the labs and quizzes. But also keep in mind the 10%. You don't get as much points for the review questions, but that is where you kind of learn the material. So make sure you do those. Okay. Notes. I have an outline of each one. I recommend if that helps you, use it. If it doesn't help you, then just ignore them. Some people say, no, that just confuses me. Other people say, no, that I like the outline, so it kind of gives me a something to start with. So whichever works. I'm also trying using the PowerPoints, posting them that have the pictures and stuff that I actually do the lecture off of. If that helps you, great. Once again, use them. If not, then don't worry about it. All right. Late work obviously will be penalized. Um, please turn things in on time. Um, don't just email something to me because it's no longer open. Sometimes I will say, okay, if you are late on the question, just email them to me or something like that. But please don't just send things by email. There's ways to submit it online, and I want you to make sure you do that. Okay. Grading criteria is pretty straightforward. The chapters, this just kind of shows you. So chemistry goes down to about here to here, rocks and geology type things, these 4 chapters, and then we have one on weather and one on astronomy. So basically, you can see that we spend a lot more time on chemistry, but there you go. That kind of lays it out. And by week, what we will do, of course, if we have bad weather or something, then we will adjust as needed. Okay. Then we have the exam schedules. Notice there's usually a Monday to Thursday when you could take those. All right, so they are there. And then the final is not Monday through Thursday. It's a little off because it is during the exam week, final week. But basically, you will have a 4 or 5 day schedule in there where you can take it. I tend to have a lot of people take it the last day. That may be just because everybody procrastinates, and it may be because they think, oh, they have to do it on that day. But technically, you have a 4 or 5 day window with that one as well that you can take it on. All right, now let's get back to the actual course. That's just kind of how it's set up in the rules, but the heart of it is, of course, right here. Now, you can go to the modules page if you would like. If you use these, the advantage is it will take you directly to that module, so whichever you prefer. The first couple chapters, it doesn't matter. If you have to scroll down the module page, sometimes it comes handier just to go click on Unit 8 and it takes you straight there. So whatever you prefer. Okay, starting at the first, there's intro course modules. Okay, those are the first assignments. Now there's one up here that's called course information module. This does not require you to do anything. These are just things, instructor welcome, course policy, textbook. That's the same as those 3 links on the front page, but you can get to them from here as well. The course introduction, these are just some things you need to do to get started. They are assignments. You notice they have points, they have due dates, so make sure you get those done. These 2 are fairly quick, just kind of saying I'm going to be honest and not cheat using the internet and so forth. And then there's just introductions where you tell me a little bit about yourself. So I'd like for you to do those, but they're just kind of getting started grades. The one thing on this one is it will use the lockdown browser, which is over here on the side. There's a link for that. So you will have to find lockdown browser and check that. And it will involve using a webcam. Okay. There's 2 reasons. One, they want this to ensure that you are actually the person you say they are. They have people with fraud that kind of sign up for a class, get financial aid, and they're not even in Wise County. They're from who knows where, China or whatever. And so that's kind of to verify that you are who you are. But the main thing is for me is that you make sure you know how to use the lockdown browser and webcam, and you get all the kinks worked out on a small assignment that's only worth 5 points, instead of later on when it's an exam and it's a large part of your grade. Okay, so it's just making sure that system works very good. Okay, now I'm going to skip down to Unit 2 because it's more typical. From Unit 2 on down, they're all about the same. The first unit's a little different just because it's the first unit, but each unit will have note outlines. Like I said, this is just an outline of the notes, very stripped down, very redacted, but if it helps you, great. They're also, I'm putting the PowerPoint, so if that helps you, great, use it. All right. But the heart of it is really the lecture videos. Okay, and these are 15-minute videos, usually anywhere from 3 to 5 or 6 of them, depending on the chapter. But basically, it just covers the lecture material. This covers all the information that you're going to need to know for the test. So I would recommend you do this before you come to class, but that's not usually the way it works. So you can go back and look at it after class, and hopefully it'll all make sense. Sometimes there'll be like an extra one here that just tells you a particular part or skill, like in this case, naming compounds. Okay. The good news is they're only about 15 minutes each, so if you fall asleep in the middle of them, it's not hard to find where you left off. Okay, so that's really the heart of the information for each thing will be the lecture videos. Oops, sorry, scroll up there. All right, there will be a set of questions. Okay, you may download a Word document and answer it for the Word document and then upload it back up. That probably works the easiest for most people, but whatever. PDF. If you can write on a PDF, I'm not very good. I don't have the programs really to help me do that easily, but if you want to do it that way, you can do that as well. And you have where you can just type in the answers. There'll be a text box once you open this assignment, and you can just put the number and type down the answers to that particular question. So any of those will work. Do it. When you do your questions, especially if they have the questions with it, like on the Word document or a PDF, please use some kind of non-black font. I like a bright blue like this, but whatever. Or some people like to do the answers in bold or whatever, but do something to make the answers so you don't just have this question and answer paragraph where I have to go through and try to figure out where the answer starts and whatever. Okay, the questions, very important, are a completion grade primarily. I will post the answers for them every Sunday morning. Okay, so you can see the answers and check to see if you got them right or not. It will be just a check grade, but it is important that you go back and look at the key to make sure you got the right answers in case you were off on something. Okay. All right, going back to the module. After that, you will have a pivot lab for most, not every single unit, but most of the units will have a pivot lab. All right. You do not have to go to the pivot website. You should be taken to it by clicking on the link here. Okay, that's very important. Usually I get some questions about how do I get there? I have trouble getting it, logging into that website. You don't have to do that. You just click on this lab and it will take you to the pivot website. It'll take you to this place where there's a pre-lab video that explains how it works, and then you will click on this button and it will take you there. Now, when I do that, it takes me to a page where I can grade all the assignments, but you will do it differently. Okay, I'm going to have to finish on another video, so I'll see you in a minute.